As Bill said, I was here in 2004 when I was running against Steve Shannon, running against the war at the time that was very popular, running for a new energy policy, running for campaign finance reform. At the city level, I'm looking at Alice right in front of me and Bill. I currently work at Knowledge Foundation, where I'm a public policy officer, where I focus on workforce investment and education, trying to get working back on Governor Strickland's workforce policy board. We're trying to create a system where we can take over $400 million in workforce investment and training dollars also at the federal level and invest them at the regional level so they can reach at-risk youth, the underemployed. There's over 1.2 million low-wage workers in Ohio, and Cincinnati, third in the nation in poverty, and that's quite a few of them. So I look forward to being part of the solution in connecting youth, at-risk youth, people coming up in the correctional system to not $7 an hour jobs, but $17 an hour careers. Before I was at Knowledge Foundation, I used to direct Citizen for Citizen Renewal. I was there for about 4 years and worked with many people in this room. In fact, some of them in this room were the reason I was hired. And we worked on a lot of, we did a lot of work on regionalism, which CCR continues to do. In fact, we brought Myron Warfield here to this very room to present on the Cincinnati Metro Pattern Study. Talked a lot about concentrated poverty in the region. In fact, our report came out 3 months before the riots. I wish they heard what we had to say. Took more seriously the solutions that we passionately advocated for. Another thing we successfully implemented was campaign finance reform, very briefly. I remember gathering signature of the policy bill as part of a coalition, Fair Elections Coalition, that passed public financing of campaigns. Of course, it was repealed. Mysteriously funded effort repealed it within months. And I know on a day-to-day basis, painfully, how much I wish that public financing had remained in effect. And let me say this actually roots back to a number of the issues, links back to a number of the issues we're talking about. I mean, we're third in the nation in poverty, but this is not a city that's really ever had a comprehensive anti-poverty strategy. Consumer education, going after checking those, the high cost of being poor, the payday lenders. This is a city that hasn't worked meaningfully to go out and capture all those dollars that are available for investing in work, in careers, investing in our youth, investing in people. This is a city that has dropped the ball in combating poverty, and I think this links back to our system of financing campaigns, because in an area where people are raising $100,000 to $300,000 to run for city council, a very narrow segment of society can underwrite these campaigns, and it's easy to ignore issues of poverty, too easy. I mean, the last budget, did they say, oh my gosh, there's a shortfall, let's stack stock options? No, they said, let's cut $3 million from the healthcare centers that serve the poor. And that was the easy thing to do. So I guess I'm here to tell you that through my day job in Knowledge Works, that's what I do. I mean, it's a matter of principle, and this is an issue that's easy to ignore, too easy. The poor don't give money to campaigns. The poor disproportionately do not vote. So we can easily ignore poverty and get away with it. Unless the elected council does not let us get away with it. And so I'm endeared by some of the comments I heard by some of the candidates before me. I think this is an issue that many of us take very seriously. Coming from a community development nonprofit background, I also take seriously, I want to get elected to office. Like Andre, I want to be a public servant, not another politician. I want to get elected to office, but my manner of approach is going to be empowering others as leaders. And one major way I want to do that is that Cincinnati has not had a strategic plan since 1948, not since Harry Truman was president. When I was at CCR, we were working, all of us, with this Blue and Penny department to do the first strategic plan that would empower neighborhoods to be part of plotting our economic future. Neighborhoods as critical stakeholders. Right now they're not. Center Park did not want a cement plant on the riverfront, but it was put there. Oakland did not want the big box development, it was put there. Right now Spring Grove doesn't want a big box development, but what's going to empower neighborhoods to have land use plans and stand up against the interests of developers. So we need to have a proactive strategy that plots our long-term economic future it empowers the neighborhoods to be critical to that future. My time is up. Thank you.